What's next? That's what we've all had in the back of our minds since the hijack attacks of September, the anthrax assault, and the so-called shoe bomber. Well, the next big event in the world is happening here in America. Just 30 days from tonight, the Winter Olympics begin in Salt Lake City. It's estimated that 3 billion people will be watching worldwide. 2 years ago, the president wanted to put Olympic security in the hands of the best experts he could find. He didn't have to look beyond the Oval Office. Defending the games is the job of the U.S. Secret Service, the same people who protect the president. Most Americans don't realize it, but the Secret Service has taken on a big new role, protecting major national events. What we found in Salt Lake may be the biggest security plan of its kind in American history. We toured the Olympic venues with Secret Service Director Brian Stafford. In his first interview since September 11th, Stafford told us while there's no known plot targeting the games, the terror threat in general is active and real. Have there been any threats against these Olympic Games that the federal government has already foiled?
There have been events, initiatives that have been thwarted. Could have they been directed at these games? Possibly. So that's probably as close as I can come on that one.
There have been terrorist activities thwarted in this country since September 11th.
Oh, yes, without a doubt.
That has to give you pause, Director.
Well, it sure it does. But again, that's the business we're in.
It is like a hockey rink.
How did the Secret Service get in this business? 3 years ago, the Secret Service was put in charge of any occasion declared a national special security event.
496 they had in
The idea grew out of the last American Olympics, Atlanta, 1996. There, a bomb killed one woman and injured 111 others. It turned out security was heavy, but coordination was light. No one agency, no single person was in charge of security. In Salt Lake, the buck stops here. Director Stafford put Secret Service agent Mark Camillo in charge of all Olympic security. Osama bin Laden is still at large. The anthrax terrorist, whoever that may be, is still at large. The Atlanta Olympic bomber is still at large. And you're standing in front of the biggest target in the world. It's got to keep you up at night.
I sleep well at night.
You don't get the sense that much rattles Camillo. He's a former teacher and karate master. He stood guard for the president, coordinated security at the UN, and now he's running the biggest job in Secret Service history. His staff's been planning for more than 2 years, pulling together the FBI, National Guard, Utah's state and local police.
This is where our nerve center is, right here.
They're covering 14 Olympic venues plus the Athletes' Village. It's a $300 million security blanket, triple what was spent in Atlanta. Camillo thought he had mastered the games until the rules changed in September.
We knew immediately here that our event had to be re-examined to make sure that as good as it was, that we left no stone unturned.
Did you ever think, for a second, that the games maybe shouldn't go on?
No. And I think that's probably because of my conditioning of being assigned to the presidential detail for a number of years. The event must take place.
And to make sure it does, they've assembled the largest security force in Olympic history. This is one of the teams the Secret Service is bringing to the Games, the elite counter-assault team. The CAT team, as it is known, is rarely seen, even though it always travels with the president. Their job is to repel a coordinated terrorist attack. They have a saying on the CAT team: speed, surprise, violence of action. You won't see them at the Olympics, but they'll be there, helping to cover kings, queens, and heads of state. The CAT team is part of a security force of thousands that will be spread all across 900 square miles of the Wasatch Range.
This is Snow Basin,
This is where the men and women's downhill ski events will be held. The peak is over 9,600 feet, and on any given day, the winds here can be blowing well in excess of 40 miles an hour. The temperature 10 degrees below zero or more. The skiers will make it down this mountain in about a minute and 50 seconds, but the agents and the officers who are working here will be maintaining the highest level of counterterrorism alert 24 hours a day. John Perry is a Forest Service cop who grew up skiing in Idaho. Can you fight in conditions like that?
I think we can with the officers that we've got coming out. Everybody's had some experience at it, and they know what the complications are and know how to succeed in those situations.
The Secret Service has deputized officers from all across the nation, people with the skills to compete on even Olympic runs. Their parkas are loaded with weapons and surveillance gear, like this heat-sensing camera. What does it do for you?
Well, what this does is give our officers that are going to be out on their post at the swing shift, graveyard shift, in the darkness, a way to see the outer perimeter and check for anybody entering the area or leaving the area, and it's our eyes in the night.
Just look at how it lights up a skier. One thing an intruder will find hard to hide is a 98-degree body against a 20 below background. So you got motion detectors on the very top up here, and woven in the fence itself. The technology is everywhere, even if you don't see it. Around the Olympic Village, this smart fence can signal for help if someone tries to cut or climb it. Inside, Camillo will be responsible for 3,500 athletes, coaches, and trainers.
We'll have screening locations up, working with personnel there on a 24-hour basis. Nothing comes into the village unless it's been screened beforehand.
Every hamburger, every soft drink, every tube of toothpaste.
Every one of those items will have been looked at to make sure there's nothing embedded or inserted in its packaging that could be harmful.
There will be many possible targets at the Games, but the chief executive officer of the Salt Lake Olympics, Mitt Romney, points to one big advantage.
We know precisely what has to be protected, which area of the country, which venues have to be protected, and then when they have to be protected.
Romney took us to what he calls the war room to show us the detailed security blueprint for just one of the venues. Can you make this work and still have the Games run on time?
Well, we have some challenges, of course, to make sure that people can get through the magnetometers quickly enough to get into the venue and enjoy the show. We're telling people to come very, very early.
Early because there will be 80,000 people each day. And to defend against bombs, the spectators will be admitted only on foot or by bus. Looking at this map, where did these people park their cars?
A long, long way away.
It's not even on this map?
Not on this map at all. Cars are being parked about 10 miles away in a massive parking lot. It's about a 70-acre parking lot. People park in that, and then they're getting on transit buses. The transit buses bring them out here. We'll drop them off where they can now begin their walk to get to our security checkpoints.
Right, put your nose right there.
Those buses and every vehicle allowed in will be screened. And for all of its technology, the Secret Service says still nothing beats a dog for finding a bomb. This is a package of plastic explosives they've hidden in this car. If the dog finds anything like it at the Olympics, he's supposed to sit. In just 4 weeks, Rice-Eccles Stadium will fill with 52,000 people. In that number is likely to be one sports fan who concerns Secret Service Director Brian Stafford the most. I think it's fair to assume that the president would be attending the opening ceremonies. In fact, you and I are in what they call the presidential box right here. Is that a daunting challenge, bringing the president into this?
Not any more so than the challenge that we face every day, taking the president from the White House to various locations. This obviously is a unique challenge, but I will prepare as if the president's coming, whether he does or whether he doesn't come.
You've got 15 venues, you've got 900 square miles to cover. Are you providing a level of security at those places that would be adequate if the president arrived at any one of them?
Yes, we are. We plan for the worst everywhere we go.
Steer, target 4!
planning for the worst always involves this Secret Service unit. This is the counter sniper team. You can expect that they will be hidden in the stadium and all around the games so that if a terrorist pops up in their sights, he'll never know what hit him.
Target number 3.
The counter sniper team is trained to hit with pinpoint accuracy even in the midst of a large crowd. After each shot, the spotter calls out the wound inflicted on the target.
Center! Center! Right in the forehead.
They're said to be the best in the world. We can't tell you how far away the targets are, that's secret. But suffice to say, it is many, many times farther than any Olympic marksman is required to shoot. We asked one of the snipers how many rounds he intended to fire at the target.
Center, Stu, centered up.
He looked surprised at the question and said, 1.
Good hit. Left lung.
All of this was planned before September, but after the airstrikes on New York and Washington, the Secret Service has rewritten its plan for air defense. The Salt Lake Airport will be shut down during the opening and closing ceremonies, and for 17 days, a large part of Utah will be a no-fly zone. And if someone gets in an airplane 200 miles from here and makes a beeline for the stadium, what's going to happen?
They're going to be greeted by a couple new friends. And what's going to happen is they're going to be dealt with quickly and decisively.
You're going to have fighter coverage.
We're going to have the military supporting us, and we are going to have law enforcement supporting us. This is a no-nonsense approach. We do not intend to tolerate anything coming at us from the air.
Nothing in the air except this.
It's the closest thing to flying.
Emily Cook is the best woman freestyle aerialist in America.
And it's one of the scariest things I've ever seen.
Yes, but that's also what I love about it.
If some athletes are scared of terrorists, Emily isn't the type. She's trained for this all of her life, and after September 11th, she has a new reason to fly.
There came a time that you found out that there was a flight attendant on American Flight 11, the first plane into the World Trade Center, a flight attendant by the name of Kathy Nicosia.
Yeah, Kathy was my cousin. She was on the first flight that hit the World Trade Center. It affected our family a lot, but, you know, I think that it's affected our whole country, and the biggest thing that I've taken out of it is to keep going. The one thing that I feel I can give back to my family is to keep training and to compete and represent my country in February, and to, you know, hopefully stand on that podium and listen to our national anthem and watch the flag be raised over our heads and give our country something to smile about.
What is the best guarantee you can make to the American people?
Best guarantee I can make is that if they have faith and confidence in the manner in which these athletes are training, preparing for these games, that they should have equal confidence that the men and women in public safety are training equally as hard in their own right, and that the Secret Service is a proud partner of that group. And although we won't necessarily win a medal here, you should put a scratch in our win column, because we're going to win this one.
It's not the only game the Secret Service is playing. The Super Bowl has also been designated a national special security event, and that starts just 5 days before the Olympics.
Log on to CBS.com for a look at what venues have to be protected at the Winter Games.